Hello, everybody. Welcome to Community Works. I'm Bernadette Welsh, your host. Each one of our shows highlights a local nonprofit organization in our community. Our goal is to educate you, our viewers, about the great work that's going on all around us every day by local organizations and their supporters. When people help their neighbors, everybody benefits. The focus of tonight's show is about theater, specifically the Theater Arts Ministry of Spring Glen Church, of which I am a member. And I have three of my fellow thespians here to talk to you about Theater Arts Ministry. And I'd like to introduce each one of you to our audience. So, Nick Appleby is a retired website developer for Yale University. In addition to being an actor and director for our organization, Nick plays in a band and sings in the choir. So welcome, Nick. Susie Hawthorne is a retired registered nurse for Yale Health. She's a director and actress for our group. Susie also sings in the choir, directs our bell choir, and she loves to knit. So thank you very much, Susie, for not bringing your knitting tonight. You're a good girl. Chuck Paul went to Yale Divinity School, but he spent his career as the director of HR for analytics and technology at Yale. He is our team producer and an actor. Chuck wears many hats at Spring Glen Church, including being our treasurer, and he enjoys going for long walks with his wife, Carolyn. So welcome to the show, all my dear friends.
Thank you. Thank you
I
for
really
having us.
appreciate your time. Okay, Chuck, let's start with you. What is the mission of Theater Arts Ministry, and why is there a ministry in that title?
Okay, well, the theater part, I think, is pretty obvious. The ministry part is less so, and was put there by a fellow named Dick Smith, who really was the pioneer of the entire enterprise here and carried us on our back for a few decades. What ministry means to us, part of it is the message that some of our plays bring, while some of the other plays are more strictly entertainment. But it's more than just the message that's in the content of the play. There's a team and family aspect to what we do that we've all enjoyed for decades and rewards us the way we work together and build things. It's not just the folks on the stage, but the set construction crew and the sound people and all the work that goes behind the scenes. The other part, a theme of Spring Glen Church is inclusion. And we try very hard to make sure that everybody feels like they can be part of what we're doing. And a statistical way to talk about that is the fact that we've had actors on the stage from the age of 3 to the age of at least 84. So, and we all have to work together, and that was one of Dick's themes, that people of various generations would work together, and it doesn't work if everybody doesn't work together.
For sure. So the mission is to produce theater for everyone and for everybody to feel included. Thank you. That's great. All right, Susie, here's your question. You've been our longest reigning member of Theater Arts Ministry, so could you please tell our viewers about the history of the organization?
Sure. We started 44 years ago when the deacons needed to do a fundraiser. And they didn't, the story goes, I don't remember this. They were going to, somebody said, we'll do a sheep roast or pig roast or something. It was sheep, right? And the people, the deacons at the time, nobody knew how to do that. And they're like, but we had a minister who loved theater and music. And he said, let's do a play instead. And the senior deacon was ready to be in a play. And fortunately, we had Dick Smith, a member of the church, who was ready to direct it. So they said, let's do it as a theater, Deacon's Dinner Theater, and see if anybody will come to see our 1890s melodrama, which was a musical.
Oh, really?
And I got involved with that. And
how old were you?
I was 24.
Okay.
And I just graduated from nursing school, and I was working evenings. So I said, I can't work Tuesdays and Fridays because we have a rehearsal. So I worked every other night.
Wow.
And but we had a great time, and it was supposed to be a one-time deal, and everybody had such a good time. that they said, we need to do this again.
So did we do one? We do one every year?
No, for the
No?
first 20 years, it was every 2 years.
Ah, okay.
And in the off year, we did a Boar's Head Festival, which was also a dinner, or we did a children's production, like the Best Christmas Pageant Ever, which we've done
Right.
several times. So we started that, but everybody said, oh, we miss it too much in the off years. So then we started doing it yearly.
Great. That's wonderful. Okay, I think that gives our viewers a little bit of a flavor for the history. Okay, Nick, we say Theater Arts Ministry of Spring Glen Church, but you could let our viewers know, do you have to be a member of Spring Glen Church to be cast in one of our plays?
Absolutely not. No.
And why not?
Well, we invite just about anybody to come and join us, and we've had all sorts of folk over the years kind of come in, friends and friends of friends. Sometimes they just come in for one production. It's really nice when they come back, and we've had a number of people come back year after year, you know. So anybody can join this. There's no requirement to be a member of the church. Can we say how people can find out about plays that we're doing?
Absolutely.
If you are interested, you can email communications@springglenchurch.org and just mention that it's about theater arts, and that'll get passed on to the appropriate people. And we'd love to have you.
We also have people come and help with, if you're interested in costume or
Sure.
set design or stage crew.
Good point. Very
absolutely.
good point.
Yeah, you don't have to
We
be
don't
an
only
actor.
need actors and actresses, we need everybody.
And the
We
stage
need
crew
everybody.
people are as valuable as anybody.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Can't do a play without all the parts.
Right.
Which is very interesting because we're going to talk about all those parts next. Okay, because again, I really want our viewers, I want you all to know, how does this happen? How do you make a play go from an idea to the final applause and bows? So we're going to learn about that next. And let's see, who am I going to pick on first? Play selection. I'm going to pick on all of you. Okay, but Chuck, Susie, Nick, how do you pick a play?
It's a group activity. I mean, usually one or two people will read some plays and find a few that have a chance. Many of the challenges that we face are because of who we are and who our audience is. If you're presenting a play in a church, even if you don't feel like it has any worship component to it at all, you have to have certain boundaries on taste. And
We've slipped those a
we've
few
slipped those
times.
couple times. We're
Yeah,
close.
it happens.
But likewise, we have a limited number of potential actors, so we need a play that will fit that. We're not going to have a cast of 30 or 40 very often. And
Sometimes,
likewise, we don't want it to be too small because we like to include as many people as we can, partly because having more people on the stage means more people in the audience, which
Yeah,
we feel
because they're
rewarding.
family and
For
friends.
For sure, yeah.
Right.
When we the director gets really the final say because it has to be a play they're passionate. The director wants to do, and I know when I was reading plays, I'm thinking about, I know the people that are usually in our company, and so you read a play and you're thinking about, this person's going to go here, and
Yep.
will, and there's some
putting the
plays
pieces
where you
together.
say, we don't have that
Yeah.
person, we can't do it. And then sometimes we're surprised at auditions.
Absolutely.
They're very good.
And one thing that makes it easier these days is that you can go online. I mean, all the scripts are online, and you can filter. So you go to a website where you have a bunch of different scripts, and you can filter and say, we want a cast of between 6
Right.
and 12, and
7 men, 4 women, or
Mhm.
4
And say-
men, 7 women.
and
yeah.
show me only comedies, that type of thing. So it's easier than it used to be. So
Okay, very good. The modern age has helped us along.
definitely.
Okay, so I think that helps us with understanding plays. So we started talking a little bit about casting. So now let's talk about casting. What is a director trying to do? I'm always complaining about casting, but that's an inside joke. But go ahead. What about casting?
Well,
Easy.
as Susie was saying, it's like when you're picking out the play, you're kind of in your mind sort of matching people up, possibly, with roles, just so you can figure out if it's going to work at all for our group. but then you actually have the audition process, and you try to then, even if you're sort of thinking, well, this person might be good at it, you're really trying to be objective, and you want to give everyone a chance. And as Susie says, sometimes people will show up that you really weren't expecting, and there was one. And George Washington Slept Here, Clay Delaney. I had him in my head cast as one. I ended up casting him as a completely different character, kind of out of the blue. And it worked out really well.
Well, I was thinking when we did Harvey, we all thought we knew who was going to be the lead.
Right.
And then Roger had that audition, and we were all like, it's him.
It's got to be him.
And we weren't expecting that.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of serendipity is involved.
Oh,
For
you
sure.
have to be open to.
You because again, I think what you're trying to tell our audience is that you want to include as many people. You want them to shine. You don't want them give them something that they can't do or they might find difficult, and then everybody has a good time, a very good time. All right, Chuck. Set design, costumes, ticket sales. Oh my goodness.
Well, I think the last two things really artistically belong to other people. But I sort of pick up what other people really probably don't want to do. And just my role, wherever I go, I guess, is partly making sure the tasks get done and nothing gets forgotten. So we
That's
have a
what a producer
spreadsheet,
does.
all these things on, okay, who's going to do this, who's going to do that, and just keep them on task. And some of the things are as basic as, who's going to set up the chairs and tables, and all those things have to get done. They're not all glorious. Fortunately, I've had my turns on stage, and I'm happy doing the things that don't require that anymore.
We were talking before the show about the fabulous set designs that we've had on some of our plays, and
Right.
I think there's some people that deserve mention for doing amazing set design.
Nick being one of them, and
Yes.
my son-in-law Dave Giblin. The two of them are a magical combination in design and creation.
And Dave is an engineer, so he comes up with incredible ways to make the set work and do what we need it to do.
And I think they do at the back of the scripts give you an idea of how to set the stage, but that doesn't mean that we have to listen to them. We could do what we want.
And a lot of cases the reward for creating stuff like they did is something that we would, you just can't imagine the rotating bookshelves and things
Rotating
like that.
bookshelves, opening up a thing and seeing a person's in there, close the thing,
Yep.
pull it out.
The script
So-
doesn't tell you how to do that. It's like you got to figure that out.
Yeah, well, that's part of the creative process, is it not? The background, the sets there, the costumes there, but then it all has to work together, and that's part of the fun of what we do. It's just super fun. Okay, I think we have given our audience an idea of how to put a play together, and now I think my wonderful director, Victor, is going to show us some pictures, and we're going to tell everybody what's in the pictures. Yes, baby? Here we go. Oh, Susie, I think that looks like you. Could you tell us what's going on in that picture?
You're a good man, Charlie Brown. And that was really fun because they were all teenagers except for me and the man Clay who played Schroeder. But we had a great time, and we actually took this on the road and went to some senior living places to do scenes from it.
Excellent. And what do we have next? Oh, now.
I remember that.
That is Mr. Chuck Paul and a ridiculous-looking me from Matchmaker. Next picture, please.
Moving on.
That
that's
is
even
also
better.
me, looking as ridiculously sexy as I could. Next picture, please. All right, what are we looking at here, Nick? Do you know? Or Susie, what is that?
Susie's got to step in
Yeah,
on this
the
one.
best Christmas pageant ever. And I was trying to see which version of it is. I'm looking at the children.
That's Katie
Katie
Butler in the
Butler,
middle.
yeah.
So
That's the second
that-
one.
I think that's the
Two-
second one.
Yeah.
Jasmine.
around 2000
yeah.
or a little
I,
bit.
I think it's an excellent
That's it.
example of having children do a show.
We've done it 3 times, right? And
Yeah.
we've had a lot of children, and they just love it.
Super duper. Okay, what's next? All right.
Oh, there I am.
Love this picture because I got to look ridiculously sexy, and there's Susie. Now you're wearing a slip.
And I have to say, this play, my son brought his now wife that was one of their first dates. And he was like the whole time saying, "Oh no, oh no."
What am I getting
you
into?
didn't warn me.
Who are these people?
This was one of those plays that kind of pushed the boundaries
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, yes, it did, but
And
we got
that's
it. We
not,
got
not
away
much
with it.
ministerial message there.
And then your daughter.
That's my
yes.
daughter doing this.
And I'm sitting in the
In the back.
background playing a drunk. Okay, next picture. This is the set. This is the amazing set from Murder Mysteries.
With all the one bookcase rotated, one slid to the side, and the other one opened on a hinge. Yeah.
And those aren't books.
And they're not books. They were all painted in, weren't they?
I actually printed them out.
Did you really?
Yeah, I got.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yes, I found images of book spines online and printed them all out, and we glued them all together. And
Absolutely incredible.
it took a while.
Absolutely fabulous example of set design.
Yeah.
Okay, next. This is our Roger, whom we will dedicate this show to, but he was doing, what play was that?
That was in The Matchmaker also.
Yep, Matchmaker.
Yep.
And next,
And
there's
there he is
Roger.
again.
Oh, Jennifer McCleary. Do we miss her or
Yeah.
do we miss her? And what play was that? Was
That's
that
Harvey.
That's Harvey.
Yes.
That's Harvey. And next, see now we can't see that is Nick Appleby. Is that not you, sir?
That is,
Yes.
that is
Why don't
me.
you tell us what's going on in that picture?
So this is a play within a play. The overall play was called Laughing Stock, but it was a small theater group who were putting on several plays, which all got confused and mixed up, and everything went wrong. And I'm playing Dracula there in the middle with the teeth. I still have the teeth.
And the lisp.
And then the lisp. Yeah, the teeth came loose. It was just the funniest play, I
Our
think.
favorite.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure. I wasn't in the group yet, and it was a pleasure for my husband and I to watch that show. We just could not stop laughing. And that's also just great memories, folks. We just thought we would share some of our theater arts memories with you so you could get a flavor for what we're up to, because we want you to be more interested in what we do. Okay, so now back to these questions. Okay, Nick, what does a director do? And Susie can help you if she wants. How do you do it?
Well, so I would have to say that, in our group, the director does everything that Chuck doesn't do. The director kind of is responsible for. Because, a larger group, you would have maybe sort of a set designer and other folk who are kind of like taking parts of the load. But we kind of do it all. So the director is kind of involved in the picking out of the script, in the casting, in pretty much every step, including set design.
Scheduling.
Yeah. If I had to say, like, the one main thing is that the director needs to be able to read a script and see in their mind's eye what it's going to look like, who the actors are going to be, how they're going to move around on the stage, and also, hear sound effects, music, kind of envision all of that ahead of time. And then work with the actors to make that actually happen. And you have to kind of be flexible and adjust as you go along. Often the actors will have great ideas that they'll bring in, say, how about if I move this way, or, So it's fun. It's fun. I learned a trick from Dick Smith. As we said, he's produced dozens of these
Yeah, a
plays.
majority. Would you say Dick
Yeah.
Smith
Yeah.
produced a
Definitely.
majority?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And I didn't know that directors did this, but he showed me how he would take a book where he had pictures of the stage, and he would have the script page by page, and for each page of the script he had mapped out in this drawing of the stage exactly how the characters would move.
In like a binder, in the binder?
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's what I do as well, and it's
Susie, I
It
think
is
It's very
really
helpful.
good.
It is helpful.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes the actors actually change the words.
and that's okay.
As long as it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
As long
No,
as it
definitely.
makes sense. Because at the end of the day, the director has to feel comfortable what the actors and actresses are saying, but so does the actor or actress has to feel comfortable
Right.
with what they're saying. And so it's kind of like an agreement. And if you get really out of line, the director will pull you in and say, no, you cannot do that. But that's okay, right?
That's part of the job too.
That's
yeah.
part. So we've had Clay Delaney, we've had Dick Smith, we've recently had Deb and Drew Meyer.
Amy
and
Amy,
and Drew.
sorry, thank you for
Yeah.
correcting
Yeah.
me.
And
yes,
Julie Mountcastle.
Julie Mount.
Yeah, for sure. Too, because we all like to act, and if you guys are directing and can't act and can't have fun, so
Right.
you got to find another director. Any directors out there?
Yep.
Let us
Give us a
know.
call.
We'd love to talk to you. Okay, so that is really a lot about directing. So, from an actor's point of view, the joys, the challenges of being on stage. Susie, could you start us off? You could take either one, joy or challenge. You get to pick.
I have to say that the biggest joy for me over the years has been acting in plays with my children. And I've had that opportunity when they were children, when they were very young, and then growing up. And just the most recent production got my daughter back on stage. So we need you, and we got to do a scene together. And it's so much fun. It just makes it
How about
very
you?
more
How
special.
about you, Chuck?
Well, I was
Wanna-
the last member of my family to make it to the
true.
stage. My two daughters and wife were on there many times before I was, and I got dragged in.
Kicking and screaming.
Well, not quite, but the situation was desperate. It must have been. So I, from then on, I think I acted in plays like 9 or 10 years in a row. But I think the joy is the teamwork. And seeing the finished product and the hard work. I won't underemphasize that. That learning lines. I tease my fellow actors about us being the paraphrased players, to speak to what you were saying about people not remembering their lines exactly. But the work that goes into it, you think, oh yeah, I can't memorize that much. It's not just memory. You got to be there. You got to react to every second that somebody's on stage with you, and you can't just, when the action's somewhere else, you can't just stand there. There's a lot to that, but it's very rewarding.
It's very rewarding too. And again, we were talking about the relationships that we make. Do you have anything you'd like to add about the joys, or how about a challenge? What a challenge of it for an actor?
Well, for me, memorizing, I remember that we did Godspell one year, and I played. I was sort of reluctantly cast as Jesus, and boy, so many lines, and they were separate little
songs.
pieces and songs, and they were separate little pieces that didn't necessarily exactly tie together. So it's like, okay, which part is coming now?
Yeah.
But when it comes together, it's so satisfying.
It's a
And
beautiful thing.
very often at the end of a play is run, we usually do like 2 or 3 performances. At the end, there's just this feeling of kind of like emptiness. It's like you put so much into it, and it's so much fun. It's hard to
Hard to let go.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is.
hard to let
build
go.
that community, and
That's right.
Yeah.
then you
We
miss
say,
each other.
what are we going to do
Yeah.
next? And we look forward to
That's right.
forward
And
to
I was
it.
also thinking about the fun of becoming the character.
Yes.
And becoming someone. In one play, I had to be the bad guy, and I'm like, I can't do that. And I got a wig.
You were good.
You were bad.
But I put a wig on to become the bad guy. And
I remember that one.
Yeah,
and
the
yeah.
costume does
It
help,
worked.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
costume helps. Like
Yeah.
you're putting on the character as well as being
Yeah.
the character.
Yeah, I remember one of our other actors saying that, adults, especially adults with children, don't get a lot of opportunities to just play with other adults.
Yes.
True.
And that,
Good point.
this gives us the chance to do that.
I think when I was a stay-at-home mom with young children, to go to rehearsal was so wonderful.
I got out of the house today. I get to talk to other adults.
I was very lucky that my husband was happy to
Yeah, and
take care of the kids so
that's
that I
another
could
point
go
too.
out
We
and
have
do
very, very loving spouses
We
that
do.
that.
allow
Yeah, very
us
supportive.
Yes.
allow us to play,
Very
and
patient.
they get to take over some things. Well, kind of, sorta. They're not maybe as good as some
Or you
of
can
us.
bring your spouse with you and both be on stage together.
Yeah,
I've
well,
done that several times.
that's a long story, and we really won't go there, will we? No, we don't think about that. Okay, so that is wonderful. Is there something inspiring anybody wants to share? I think actually what you were all saying was very inspiring. Is there anything else that you care to add about something that inspired you. I noticed when I, in the most recent place, saw little children, a teenager and young children step up and do what we think is hard, and they were doing it. And that is inspiring to me.
Definitely.
To see, or somebody, Dick Smith was 83 years old when he played in Miracle of 34th Street. He was in every scene. He didn't miss a line. That was inspiring to me. And hopefully our audience has found it inspiring too. So when you come to see our shows, get ready to be inspired, because you will be. You will be. All right. So I would like to talk about how theater arts, ministry, theater arts in general, how that benefits the wider community. Again, we've talked around it, but Susie, you have a lovely story about visiting Elam Park, and could you share that story with us?
Sure. When my parents moved to Elam Park, there were also several church members that were living there, and they were coming to our shows and were talking about it and bringing their friends, to the point eventually where Elam Park provided a bus to bring, and they were among our most loyal audience members. And one woman said to me, I have my husband's World War II uniforms. Could you use them? We did a lot of 1940s plays, and so I took all of those and we did use them because Dave wore, and
right.
it was wonderful. And another woman said, I have a box of vintage gloves, which the women, and they just were so excited to be a part of it, and very happy to come and say, wait, that's
quite a community,
Yeah.
and we were talking before the show started about people being able to get out of themselves and out of their problems and worries and come to a show and see people that they know and say, wow, I didn't know that Nick, Chuck, or Susie could do that, or that other person could do that. Wow.
Neither did Nick, Chuck, or Susie.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. But I think it does. It brings joy to see live theater. As difficult as it is to do, live theater is a joy. Well, my director is telling me that I talk too much. Haha, surprise, surprise. And so we have to wrap it up. But I do want to tell you that it has been such a pleasure for me to be involved with Theater Arts Ministry, and I do hope that you will come and see us. And on a more sentimental note, you saw some photos in our plays of a gentleman by the name of Roger Johnson, and we lost Roger this week to his reward in heaven. And so we would like to dedicate this show to the memory of Roger Johnson, a great man, a husband, a father, involved with theater arts, volunteering for Habitat for Humanity, delivering meals on his bicycle to people in need. We need more people like Roger Johnson. So Roger, we will never forget you. You are in our memories forever. So thank you, Nick, Susie, and Chuck. I'll get a little choked up here for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you, folks, for watching. I'm Bernadette Welsh for Community Works. When people help their neighbors, everybody benefits.